Yeah, welcome everyone. Marijuana Time Show for January 23rd, 2018. I'm your host, Joe Klare. And check out these videos. Myself, many other great writers over at marijuanatimes.org, all the cannabis news and opinion you need. And check us out, marijuanatimes.org. You can also share the videos there, as I said, with your social media networks, or you can search the Marijuana Times, of course, on YouTube and Facebook to find the show. Or you want to get the audio version of the show on the go, if you will, search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts, and you'll find the audio version of the show. Today we're talking about a story you might have seen from earlier this month. There's an update on it. Police arrested 70 people at a house party in Georgia around the new year. Also, what's going on in Maine. Spoiler alert, it's not a whole lot when it comes to legalization. Also, a clearly racist Kentucky police officer. Why is he clearly racist? Well, we'll talk about that coming up. But first, of course, I have to tell you, the Marijuana Times Show is brought to you by naturesidecannabis.com. If you're a cultivator in a legal state, whether it's Colorado or Oregon or Washington or beyond, you want to be regulatory compliant and you want to make sure you're growing safe and poison-free. To do those things, all you need is naturesidecannabis.com. They can help you pass the regulations in your state. They can make sure that you use safe, organic, all-natural pesticides on your grow. naturesidecannabis.com, a proud sponsor of the Marijuana Times Show. Go check them out. You will not be sorry. Well, if you need pest control products, you will not be sorry. So go check them out. naturesidecannabis.com. This first story is from marijuanatimes.org. It's a story written by yours truly. Basically, here's the rundown. Earlier this month, there was a house party in Georgia. First weekend of the year. This girl, she was turning 21. She used Airbnb to rent out a house. Police in Cartersville, Georgia, get reports of gunshots from this house. So the police arrive. There's dozens and dozens of people there, obviously. It's a huge house party. And there's some dispute about whether they got a warrant before they went in. They say they did. The police say they got a warrant. People who were there say they did not get a warrant. I mean, I guess in any case, the police, hearing about possible gunshots and things of that nature, would have probable cause to go into the house anyway. They also allegedly smelled the odor. They caught a whiff of the odor of marijuana. So the cops go in the house. They find 2 stolen guns, again, allegedly. Marijuana smoking devices, cocaine, and cocaine use devices. I'm not very familiar with cocaine or how to use it. Some sort of usage apparatus or apparati for cocaine was found in the house. So apparently what happens is the cops say, hey, whose drugs are these? No one claims the drugs because obviously no one's going to come up and say, hey, yeah, they're my drugs. So police arrest all 70 people. Allegedly, again, they're kept in jail for 3 days. Most of them, one of the girls was pregnant, and they told her she wasn't fit to carry a child. The people who were at the party say a lot of the people were there just, catching up with friends. A lot of them are military people. Obviously, if you have a house party, just logic dictates, if you have a house party and there's 70 people there, not all 70 people brought drugs. It's a very inefficient way of doing things. In any case, without any evidence that the drugs belong to any particular person, these police arrested, at best, dozens of innocent people and made them stay in jail for 3 days. So the NAACP is looking into this and investigating. They have a GoFundMe page for what is being called the Cartersville 70 to raise money for their obvious, what are going to be massive legal bills, especially if they're fighting. If they end up, suing the police or any of that, the legal bills are going to be out of control. So you can go check that out. You can check out this story. It's linked in the description of this video, as are all of the stories that I talk about. It's also over at marijuanatimes.org. Very weird, a weird solution, at the very least, to the incident. Nobody's going to explain. Say what you do with your kids. If you have 3 kids and one of them does something bad, see how all 3 of you are not getting ice cream until one of you fesses up on who did this. But if you're a police officer and you have 70 people at a house party and you say, well, nobody claims the drugs, you're all going to jail. How much did that cost? How much did that cost the Cartersville taxpayers and the county taxpayers, whoever pays for that? People in the state of Georgia. How much did it cost to arrest 70 people? Had to be quite a bit. Was it worth it? If you're in Cartersville, Georgia, do you feel safer? Not those whippersnappers at the house party? Got their what they had coming? It's ridiculous. Next story, as I segue to more ridiculousness, is from MainePublic.org. Regulations for sale of recreational pot in Maine on hold again until mid-April. The legislative committee charged with developing regulations for the sale of recreational marijuana in Maine has voted to extend a moratorium on the adult use market until mid-April. The moratorium has been in place since last year, but has had little practical effect on the marijuana law voters approved back in 2016. This is because Republican Governor Paul LePage vetoed a bill last fall that would have established licensing standards for the purchase and sale of marijuana. Basically, in November 2016, 4 states legalized recreational marijuana: Maine, Massachusetts, Nevada, and California. Nevada started retail sales this summer through medical marijuana dispensaries. They got an early start. California just began retail sales. They're beginning what is the start of a massive retail market in California. In Massachusetts, there's been some delays and some back and forth. A handful of legislators over the Christmas break, just after the law was passed in Massachusetts, they got together and decided instead of January of this year being the start of retail sales, it would be July of this year. So they're aiming for July of 2018 for retail sales, which leaves Maine and their governor, Paul LePage, who hates marijuana. I mean, when I say he hates marijuana, I'm talking like Jeff Sessions, Chris Christie level hate of marijuana. So he's not allowed the regulations to go through, which means there's no way for people to get a license to sell marijuana, which means there are no marijuana sales. The moratorium expires on February 1st. They voted to extend it. They being the lawmakers on the Marijuana Implementation Committee. Well, they're really banging it out. Okay, but it's not, it's not their fault. It's, LePage does not like it, and he's not going to allow it. And he's going to stall as much as he can. But some are afraid without a moratorium on sales, the public will be confused into thinking that it's okay to proceed with retail business plans. Lawmakers there are hoping that they can get some kind of regulations together to either have LePage sign, which is probably not going to happen, or a more likely scenario, regulations that are enough and hit the sweet spot enough as far as what everybody in the legislature in Maine wants to get a veto-proof majority, which means they can override the veto if LePage does veto again. So we'll keep you up to date as time goes on what's going on in Maine. They lag behind California, Nevada, and even Massachusetts when it comes to cannabis and starting legal sales and implementing the will of the voters, which is what they're supposed to be doing. This last story is from CourierJournal.com out of Kentucky. It's 2 days in a row for some Kentucky news. Yesterday was good. Today, well, not so much. Former assistant police chief in Prospect sent messages urging recruit to shoot black people. A former assistant Prospect police chief sent numerous racist messages to a Louisville Metro Police recruit, including one that said if he caught black juveniles smoking marijuana, he should shoot them. Todd Shaw sent the, quote, highly disturbing racist and threatening Facebook messages to the recruit, according to a letter Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell sent to Prospect Mayor John Evans. Shaw, who had previously worked 20 years as a Louisville officer, was suspended, then fired last year from the Prospect force. O'Connell told Evans that while Shaw and the recruit were discussing a training scenario in which the recruit was to write a paper on the right thing to do if he caught 3 juveniles smoking marijuana, which, by the way, for the record, the right thing to do when you catch 3 juveniles smoking marijuana is take their marijuana if you feel the need and tell them to get their butts home. That's, I mean, if you're gonna do anything at all, that's what you do. if they're juveniles, if they're minors, they're smoking weed, you take it from them. You say, don't let me catch you smoking weed again, you little whippersnappers, you crumb grabbers. Now get home before I change my mind. Now, I would say, just, don't worry about it. But, most police are not going to do that. They're going to worry about it. It's going to, even under legalization, minors smoking in public is going to be a problem. But Shaw, it's not the path that he took. He said, quote, F the right thing. Well, he didn't say F. He said, F-U-C-K the right thing. If black, shoot them. Shaw, instructing the recruit how to handle parents of a juvenile caught smoking pot, wrote, quote, if mom is hot, then F her. If dad is hot, then handcuff him and make him S my D. Unless daddy is black, then shoot him. Now, the, I guess, official attempt at a defense of this is that the messages were in private over Facebook and that he's just joking. He's just, joshing around with the recruit for the Louisville Police Department. Now, that explanation, that excuse is ridiculous on many levels. First of all, because it's obviously BS. He wasn't just joking around. But let's say he was. Let's give this awful person the benefit of the doubt. He was joking around. Is that funny? Telling the recruit, don't worry about what the right thing to do is if you catch a Ute smoking the marijuana, the devil's cabbage. Unless they're not black, but if they're black, shoot them. That's not an attempt at a joke. That's a guy being real with another guy. Unless he has a really messed up sense of humor. Either way, that's your defense? I was just joking around. Bang the mom, mouth rape the father, and shoot the kid if they're black. So this guy's been fired. And somebody else points out in the story, cops have enough problems building trust in the community for many, many, many reasons. Police brutality, the drug war, enforcing unenforceable laws. Police have really destroyed the trust in many communities. And stuff like this doesn't help. People reading this story, that's not going to endear them to police officers. Now, you could say, well, this is just this one guy. True. But I'm sure there's a lot of other guys like him and women like him in police forces. But in any case, people are not going to be thinking that when they read this. They're not going to be thinking, oh, well, he's just, it's just this one dude. This one dude on Facebook. It's no big deal. It's a very big deal. He also wrote that M.L. King was nothing but a racist. He misspelled racist. Jesus. Womanizer. But because someone shot him, I get a day off with pay each year. So this guy's really obsessed with black people getting shot. Which, being a police officer, you put those two things together, you have problems. You have problems anyway with someone acting like this and saying these things. But they're a police officer who already have, a reputation for shooting black people. You see where the problem comes in. The very obvious problem. So this guy lost his job, as he should. Because he's a racist piece of S. Well, we continue with the almost cursing on the show. That's going to do it for the Marijuana Time Show. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. Thank you to NatureSideCannabis.com for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to make cannabis great again. If you want this hat, any other merchandise, go check us out. MakeCannabisGreatAgain.com. And as I said, check out NatureSideCannabis.com. Organic, all natural pesticides. Thanks, everybody, for watching the Marijuana Time Show. Keep liking, sharing, commenting on the videos. Thank you to all who do. We'll see you next time. The Marijuana Time Show.